Cheers, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Sippin With Sin. Happy to have you all here hanging out with us yet again for another week of fun stuff and things, discussing lots of nerdy things, pop culture, and all kinds of stuff. Again, appreciate all of you tuning in each and every week and supporting the podcast. We're getting more and more feedback, more and more messages, so we appreciate it more than we can ever thank you guys. So continue to spread the word, continue to be awesome, and yeah. Let's get into this episode for this week. We got a lot of content, a lot of stuff to talk about. It's a busy time for us. A busy time with all the things going on, all the news, all the shows. And so, yeah, without further ado, let's just go ahead and bring in the sexiest man voted in Nashville in 2022. The one and only Christian.
Hello there.
Hello there. Okay, Obi-Wan. Hello there. Won't you calm down? Got the black Obi-Wan over here. Hello there.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. All right. Well, as we like to do with every episode, those that are new and those that have been here, you know what we're about to do. But for those that are new, we like to start each segment off by talking about what we've either watched, listened to, read, or played this past week to kind of break the ice and get things rolling. So let's go on and do that now. Christian, what have you been into this past week?
All right. So this week, man, I watched two things that are new to me. The first one, I went to go see Lightyear, the new Buzz Lightyear movie.
Oh,
and
okay.
Without spoiling it, because I don't believe that you've seen it yet. So without spoiling it, what I can say is I really, really like the movie. I know that it's gotten some negative press. People, haven't really been going out to see it. But my thing is, if you can go and see 4 Toy Story movies, then you can totally go and see this one Buzz Lightyear movie. It was great, dude. Absolute fun. No alcohol required. It was just long enough. It didn't feel like it was too long. It didn't feel like it was too short. It's Pixar, so it made you feel all the feelings that Pixar movies make you feel. What I can say about Chris Evans being the voice of Buzz Lightyear. Obviously, we grew up with Tim Allen. We're used to him being the voice, but Chris Evans killed it then. He crushed it. I loved it. I really enjoyed the story. There is a twist in the story that some people don't like, which I won't get into for obvious reasons, but I rather enjoyed it. This movie was made for people our age, I believe. Absolutely. Like, after I watched it, I was like, I totally want to buy this movie on Blu-ray. Like, that's how I felt. So that's kind of how I feel about the movie Lightyear. I really liked it. I would love to watch it again. Watching behind the scenes and stuff seems like more palatable to me now. I want to do that. So, I mean, if you guys haven't seen it, everyone listening, you haven't seen it, give it a shot. It's definitely worth it. And if you have children, anybody listening that has kids, like, it's totally a movie to go see with your kids that you won't get bored of watching. So absolutely give it some time. And then the other thing that I watched, I actually watched it really recently. I watched this more recently than anything else we're going to talk about today. But there's this movie that came out in 2020. It's called The Wolf of Snow Hollow. And for those of you who haven't seen the movie, it's about this serial killer who most people in this town suspect to be a werewolf, is taking out women, young women. It definitely has a type. And the sheriff, essentially the active sheriff of the town, doesn't believe in werewolves. He doesn't think it's a werewolf. He thinks it's a person, a serial killer. He's trying to get it together. He's a recovering alcoholic. He is divorced. His wife is the complete opposite of him. She's all about doing anything her daughter wants, which I understand, because their daughter is 17 and she's, trying to go to college and move out of the town and do all this. And the dad's kind of overprotective, but he also is trying to stay whelmed, if you will, in this town. But there are so many things that are pushing him back to alcoholism, the murders included. And his dad, who is the actual sheriff of the police station that's in their town, is passing away as well. Like, he definitely has heart issues that he hides from everyone, and him and a choice other cops help him cover up his issues in the town, like when he's having like heart attacks or moments where his heart's like not beating correctly and stuff. They all just kind of cover for him, so that's also adding to the stress of our main character. But I gotta say, I had so much fun with this movie. I don't. I want to say it's one of my favorite werewolf movies, but I also don't want to say that because I don't want people to go into this movie thinking it's something that's not. Um, but werewolves are a part of the overarching story, and that's really all I can say without ruining it in general. But it's streaming right now on Amazon Prime. So for those of you who have Amazon Prime, which is like 90% of us, definitely give The Wolf of Snow Hollow a chance. It's worth your time. It's not hella long. I think it's like an hour and 30-40 minutes. So it's 100% worth it. I really like the atmosphere. I like the music. I like the story. I like the actors. I like the choices that they were making, and the characters. Most of them feel pretty realistic. So definitely give it your time. I really really like this movie, and I'm probably going to watch it again here in the near future. Definitely something that I would recommend to you, Sin. It's right up your alley. I know you like wolves. I know you like horror. I know you like murder mystery. So absolutely give it a shot. And the main character is awesome. I really like him. He's relatable as hell. So absolutely give that movie your time.
Okay, I'll check that out. I'll definitely watch it. I'm always looking for good movies. Anything else
Dude,
you've been into?
it's totally worth it. As far as like, stuff that we won't already get into, no, not really. But
Okay.
I definitely wanted everybody to know that I saw Lightyear and I saw The Wolf of Snow Hollow on Amazon, and it is awesome.
Okay.
Please give it
I'm
your
definitely
time.
going to check that out. I'm going to put that on my list of stuff to watch. I may try to watch it this week and come back and talk about it next week.
Man, I would love that. I would love for you to watch it so that we could like dive into the plot, because I don't want to ruin it until you see it. Because I went into this movie not knowing anything. I knew that it existed. I knew the title of it was awesome. I knew the poster existed. Like that's pretty much all I had, and it was fantastic.
Okay. I definitely will check it out. Sounds interesting. Sounds like you said right up my alley. So that's my cup of tea. Um, for me this week, I played Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, and we beat the story already. Our first playthrough, I played it with the community, and it was an absolute blast. If you ever played the Ninja Turtles arcade game, then you'll love this.
Oh yeah, I played the hell out of it.
It's
Played
the
the hell out of
exact
it.
same. It's that vibe, that style, the cutscenes, everything. It's fantastic. I loved it. Music, everything. It's wonderful. So if you're a fan of that and side-scrolling games, I highly recommend it. It's free on Game Pass. I believe it's out everywhere on PlayStation and Switch, I think, and probably
Yeah,
PC as well.
I almost bought it on Switch, to be honest, but I ended up buying Fire Emblem Three Houses, and I've been playing that.
But you've been all in some Fire Emblem lately, haven't you?
Yeah, man, it's a great game. It's definitely it's a hardcore JRPG, so like I don't have the time of day to play it like I want to play it. So there is that, but I do for sure um, enjoy the time that I get with it. But I really wanted to play Shredder's Revenge, and I've been hearing nothing but good things about it.
Oh, dude, it's amazing. I loved it. Um, besides that, I have started rewatching. Well, not rewatching, but I never finished season 3 of Westworld. And the time of recording this episode, I believe Westworld airs this coming Sunday, the new season. So I am trying. I've restarted season 3 of Westworld, and I'm trying to like get through that season real quick to be caught up, to be ready for the new season and watch it. But I've been watching Westworld, and I also watched Batman Nipples. On Saturday? I think it was Saturday. I watched Batman Nipples movie. Those that don't know, it's called Batman Nipples, aka Batman Forever. Yeah,
Batman Forever. So with Val Kilmer.
yeah, and that's Bat Nipples, right?
So technically, I mean, yes, but
That's where
Bat
they introduce
Nipples.
Robin. It's
Yeah,
Jim
that's where they
Carrey and
introduce Robin.
Tommy Lee Jones are
I
the
mean,
villains.
yeah,
Yeah,
but most of the time when we're talking about Bat Nipples, we're usually talking about Batman and Robin with George Clooney, because that one was just egregious.
yeah. Oh, he had nipples in that one too.
Oh yeah, they had nipples, they had butt shots. All the suits had nipples except for Batgirl's suit. So I mean,
Oh God.
just in case.
I just remember like watching it. That's like the first thing that stood out. Like Val Kilmer, I saw. I was like, "Oh, look at the nipples! Look at the nips!" But yeah,
Yeah,
we watched a
I
little bit
mean,
of that. Nice blast from the past. I will say this though, like obviously, all those movies have a special place in my heart because I grew up with them. But watching the old Batmans compared to what we have now, when you look at like the Nolan Batman or even Batfleck, the Batman, all that, we've come a long damn way. We have come a long way.
Yes, sir, we have.
But they'll always have a special place in my heart, and I always enjoy watching them for what they are. Which in the 90s, they were amazing. Well, okay, most of them were amazing. Let's say that.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I think Batman Returns, fantastic movies.
Yeah.
Absolute 10 out of 10s. I think Batman Forever is a great film. I give it a solid 8. I mean, it's over the top for sure, but it's still, still fun.
Yeah.
And then when you get to Batman and Robin, it's a lot less fun.
That's where it started dropping off pretty bad.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the movie I'll watch every so often in the background because it's hilarious, and then I'll, essentially just get shit-faced and make fun of it.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, most of them are good, but then they definitely, the longer they went on, they dropped off. And like you said, Batman and Robin was a drop-off. But it'll still hold, like I said, all of them will still hold a special place just because, as a kid, I would go to the theater and watch the Batman movies and be super excited. And I'm a kid, so all the corniness, I was like, ooh. But then growing up, you're like, oh, God, wow. Okay.
Yeah. We made our parents watch this.
Yeah. I'm sorry, parents. But, yeah, so that's what I've been watching and playing this week. But before we get into the other stuff I've been watching, which we have a lot of topics to talk about that, I wanted to briefly touch on some news. And also, I wanted to talk about some games that I'm excited for that were announced in this past Summer Game Fest. I'm not going to go into too much detail, just talk about ones that I pretty much put on a list. I made a list of games for me to be keeping an eye on and potentially grabbing and stuff like that I was interested in. Some of them I'm super interested. Some of them are kind of like question marks for me. But obviously, I'll start with Final Fantasy while I'm thinking about it. They have Final Fantasy VII, what is it called? Crisis Core Reunion, I think. Double check that. I've never played the Crisis Core game. I know there was one back on, was it PSP? Christian, do you remember?
I want to say it was PSP, but don't quote me on that.
That's probably why I didn't play it. But they have a remake of that. It's called Reunion, and I want to try it. It comes out this year, I believe this winter. And then you have Final Fantasy Rebirth is coming out next year. I think they said that's next winter. I believe. I could be wrong. And I'm excited for that. And that's pretty much the second part of the Final Fantasy VII remake. And then, of course, they announced, I think there's a mobile game. There's like a Final Fantasy BR mobile game, First Soldier or something, and they announced some other stuff. Final Fantasy Part 3 remake development's already in the works. And yeah, so I'm excited for those. They had it wasn't a big thing. It was like a 10-minute presentation Square Enix had where they talked about all those. So those are some I definitely want to keep an eye on and play, especially Crisis Core because I've never experienced it, so I want to see that story. Some others are Saints Row. I think it's is it a remake or a reboot? I'm not really sure. I think it's a remake.
Yeah, I think it's a whole new thing. Like to be honest, I'm not sure though.
But it comes out in August of this year, August 23rd. I'm excited for it because Saints Row is literally a more over-the-top, cartoony Grand Theft Auto. So it'll be a blast. A lot of fun content and laughs in that one. Last of Us Part 1 remake. This damn game. Oh my God. Look, Last of Us is in my top games. I love the Last of Us story. 1 and 2, the game made me feel things. I was angry. I was happy. Like, I love that game. I really did. Naughty Dog did a great job. And going into it, there was the rumors that was coming out. And I was like, there's no way I'm buying it again because I had it on PS3 and PS4. Or maybe, I rebought it. I didn't have it on PS3 maybe. I don't know. But I got it on PS4 and I was like, there's no need to buy it again on a PS5. And then they show all the stuff and they've changed things and it plays like Last of Us 2. And I was like, damn. And then Miss Sim was like, we need to get that game. I was like, come on. So, yeah. So I'll be playing it again, I'm sure. That comes out September 2nd. Metal Hellsinger, we've talked about that on here. The rhythm shooter with the sweet soundtrack. That comes out September 15th. One that Christian's excited for, Gotham Knights, comes out October 25th. I'm definitely interested in that. Great. That looks really fun. Modern Warfare 2 comes out October 28th. curious to see more on that. We haven't seen any gameplay, only the campaign trailer.
You mean for Modern Warfare?
Do what?
Are you talking about specifically Modern Warfare right now?
Yeah, Modern Warfare 2. We've only seen campaign trailer.
Yeah, like I'm like so far removed now from the Call of Duty games in general. So like whenever they make a new COD, I'm just like, I mean, if you've played literally any COD from the last 6 years, then you played them all. I do know that maps are a big thing, and guns and the way they look are a big thing, and
it's also the time frame that they put them in. If they do World War II or modern or futuristic or
yeah, I'm just like, I don't know, man. I'm so disillusioned now with those types of games. They're just not my. They're like, it's kind of like when you're talking to somebody and they only like movies like Fast and Furious, right? Like
yeah.
Fast and Furious is a fun like popcorn film, but like I'm not getting anything else out of it. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. Generally, most people that actually go out of their way to watch them generally like them, and that's kind of what we're getting from this as well. So like I'm not looking forward to any of those, but I just kind of wait and see what the general fandom says, and I just kind of latch on to that, unfortunately, because, like I said, first-person shooters are just like lowbrow entertainment at this point for me. And now we have all of the, the games like I'm trying to like battle royale type games. We have a lot of that kind of stuff going on, and those also are just the types of games that you can see a bunch of people, most of the time younger people, playing these games because they're online. You can play them with your friends. You do all this stuff, but you know what you're getting into. You don't have to worry about a story. You don't have to worry about finding Easter eggs or getting collectibles. All you got to do is run out and not get shot, and you're good. So, like I said, those don't really mean anything to me. But the people who do like those games, I really hope that it's good, because, I mean, eventually they're going to stop making COD games because the world's being taken over by the games I was just mentioning, which were the type of King of the Hill, Fortnite,
Battle
Apex.
Well, I mean, this Modern Warfare is supposed to transition to the new Warzone. It's like Warzone 2, so it's their new BR, which is what they're investing heavily in. For me, I'm not gonna lie, the multiplayer games like that, I kind of, especially streaming, I don't really think about the game much. Like, it's kind of one of them games that like I can be playing and kind of zoned out, but more focused on chat. Like, I can sit there and be talking to them and have a conversation while I'm just running around shooting stuff.
Oh, that's nice.
So it's like, it's one of them. I guess I've just got to that point. I'm not good like that. I mean, I do decent, but it's a point where like I'm not sitting there like ultra focused on what I'm doing. I'm just kind of like, once I kind of get a feel for the game and like what the COD plays like that version plays like, and the guns and stuff, like I'll do decent and I'll get people involved in playing, but I'll just kind of like be focused and not like sitting there like trying to be a pro or something at it, More just
that's
like
fair.
Giggles. So that's why I get into those, just because I can, I don't know, zone out more than a battle royale, because I'm not as worried about placement and stuff. Battle royales I can do it some, but yeah. But moving along, another game I am super excited for that was announced. I believe it's by people that did Dead Space previously. It's called the Callisto Protocol. It comes out December 2nd, and it looked awesome. I'm super excited for that. Did you see anything on it?
I did. I'm right there with you, dude. I want that game to be good first, and second, I mean, it's like when they first announced that game, which was a couple years ago. It was essentially like a spiritual successor to Dead Space, and that's before they announced that they were remaking Dead Space. But now that I know they're remaking Dead Space, like I still want to play this game. It sounds awesome and it looks cool. And then I hear that it's not supposed to be like Dead Space. It's its own thing completely. It's just in space with these kind of creatures in it. So that's why people are making the connection. So I'm just kind of excited to see what they give us at this point. I just want to play it. So I can't wait.
And speaking of Dead Space, that moves us into 2023. I'm very excited for the Dead Space remake. I can't wait to do that. January 27th, that one comes out. And then the day before it comes out, March 1st, it was supposed to come out this year, recently, I think a month or two ago, and they actually pushed it to March 1st. I don't know a lot about it. It looks like the Division-ish kind of game, but I don't know. It looks cool. Zombies, all kinds of stuff. Looks fun. I'm going to keep my eye on it. And then Resident Evil 4 comes out March 24th. I've played all the Resident Evil remakes, all the Resident Evil games pretty much. So, of course, I'm going to be all over that. Resident Evil 4 is one of the best ones, if not arguably the best Resident Evil, depending on who you ask. Then we go
absolutely.
into ones that don't have hard dates, I believe, which are Street Fighter 6. I haven't played a Street Fighter. I mean, I've briefly messed with them, but not really. I'm wanting to actually play this one, but it comes out in summer of 2023. Looks really good, what I've seen. I'm excited for it. Final Fantasy 16 comes out in Q3 of 2023. Starfield comes out sometime in the first quarter of 2023. So yeah, we saw a little bit of gameplay on it and a little bit more on that in the conferences, and I'm curious about it. Texas Chainsaw Massacre comes out 2023. They have announced that it'll be out next year. They didn't announce exactly when, but I think it's also 4 survivors versus 3 killers. I think is what I read. So I'm very curious on that. That looks cool though, and I really like the team that's working on that. I've worked with them before, and they're awesome. Super awesome people. If you ever played Layers of Fear or Friday the 13th, that team did it, and they're awesome.
Yeah, man, I'm hoping that game is really good. Like, I like Texas Chainsaw Massacre just as much as the next guy. I'm not the biggest fan of it. Like, I'm not a diehard. I've seen almost all the films. But I just want the game to be good, man. Like, we need good horror games. There are a lot of those kind of, player versus killer games out right now, like Dead by Daylight and stuff
I
like
think
that. There's a
adding
lot
2
of
more
games.
killers is going to be interesting instead of just one killer. Having a team of killers.
I mean, yeah, it'll be. I wonder how they'll equal that out. So we'll see how fair that ends up being.
They I don't know if you've seen any stills, but they are like mirroring the movie hardcore. Like scenes and places, locations from the movie. They're showing like in game what it looks like compared to the movie, and they are doing a fantastic job of just like trying to get things as pinpoint accurate and as close to the movie as they can as far as like locations and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really cool.
I
I
just
think
don't want it to be
they're keeping it pretty close.
cool. I just don't want it to be like the game that we just got, the Evil Dead game. Like that game seems like the kind of horror game that's fun for like the week it comes out. You get to play with your homies and it's really cool, and then you get bored of it real quick and like nobody's talking about it, because like with that game, nobody is talking about Evil Dead right now. Like the week it came out, it was some buzz. After that week, I heard nothing, not hide nor hair about that game, and I'm just hoping that the horror games that we're getting that you just mentioned like don't have that same problem, because good God.
Yeah. But moving along, World of Warcraft Dragon's Flight is rumored to come out before the end of this year. It's the latest expansion. I've played WoW for years, so of course I'll definitely be checking that out. Me and the missus, she's a WoW player, and her father and brother, so it'll be fun.
Nice.
God of War Ragnarok is supposed to come out, it's rumored November of this year. We'll see. I still have a really bad feeling it's going to get pushed to next year, but we'll see. Maybe not. Redfall, which looks interesting. I get a Left 4 Dead feeling from it, but with vampires and abilities. Like each character has abilities. That's supposed to be coming out in 2023. Looked kind of interesting and fun. There's a game that looks super quirky called High on Life. It's coming out October of this year. The guns had like their own personalities talking to you and stuff. It looked interesting. I definitely I'm going to keep my eye on it. A game that I really enjoyed, the sequel to it's coming out, Plague Tale. I think it's Plague Tale Requiem or something. Super excited for it. That game was really good, really pretty. I really enjoyed playing Plague Tale. But that comes out this year, I think October of this year. Overwatch 2 comes out in October 4th actually of this year. Overwatch is a fun game. Arc 2 comes out in 2023. I am hesitant on this, but I really did have a great time with Arc. I loved it. I loved the BR when they had it, Survival of the Fittest or whatever it was called. Put tons of hours into Arc, my grown-up Pokemon style game where I just collected dinosaurs. Had a good time with it. I'm a little worried. Vin Diesel's in that one. And 2, I don't really know what they're doing. I'm worried they're going to ruin what makes Ark Ark, but we'll definitely see. It's coming out on Game Pass, so I'm going to get to try it thanks to the perks of Game Pass. Scorn comes out October 21st of this year. Another horror game that looks pretty creepy. Get like an alien vibe from it. Lightyear Frontier comes out in 2023, and that looked like Stardew Valley meets No Man's Sky, so I'm keeping my eye on it. I don't know how to say this. Naraka? Blade Point? If I butchered it, I'm an idiot, and I'm sorry. I apologize. But it actually... What?
I was just laughing about that.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I'm always worried I'm going to mispronounce stuff like that. But it actually dropped today. I was recording this. It's on Game Pass. I think it's also on PC. Pretty much it's a battle royale, but it's not like a shooting battle royale. You have like ultimates, and it's like melee and like samurai style stuff. So I'm going to download it and check it out. I'm pretty interested in it and see what's up with it. And then Diablo 4 comes out in 2023 before June because they said it would be playable 12 months before or from the announcement, and it looked awesome. So there's my games that I'm pretty stoked for. Another one I'm excited for that they haven't announced and I'm waiting patiently for is Hellblade. The first one was fantastic. I can't wait for the second one. I don't know when it's coming out. Hopefully soon. And then, that pretty much covers the games. Was there any games that excited you before I move on to the next talking point?
Honestly, man, I think you described pretty much everything that I was interested in, and then a few things that I wasn't necessarily interested in, but I'm still curious to see how they transpire. So I can't wait.
Like I said, some of those games I'm really excited about, and they're just like, I can't wait. And then some of them I'm intrigued about, and I'm keeping my eye on. Luckily, a lot of the stuff, there's several of those that I said that are on Game Pass. So if you have Xbox Game Pass, seriously, it's the best deal in gaming, and it will be included day one. So to be able to not have to go spend money on them, I can just download them and try them. And then worst case, I don't like them, I'll uninstall them, that kind of thing. I love it. So stuff like Ark and all that, we'll be able to try, our High Life and different ones. So I'm pretty excited. But next news I want to talk about very briefly. Don't have a lot of information on it, but it has come out today, or not today, sorry. It has come out recently that there will be a Game of Thrones sequel. Not the House of Dragon that's coming out in August, but a sequel to Game of Thrones. And reportedly, Kit Harington is associated with it. He is confirmed to be coming back as Jon Snow. So we don't know much about what it's going to be. Supposedly it's going to be a few years after the events of Game of Thrones. We don't know much other than that. We don't know if cameos are going to happen, if people are coming back. I'm pretty sure Macy had mentioned, and she was the only cast member after Game of Thrones wrapped that said she would be down to play her character again and she would 100% come back. But, that was a couple years ago. So who knows now? She may have moved on and not want to. Definitely going to keep my eye on it for more announcements, but that excited me. I would like to see what they do. I do think this might be HBO's way of going back and maybe trying to please the people and fix things that everyone was not happy about maybe. We'll see, though. Like I said, you don't know much other than what I just said. They haven't come out with anything, so definitely going to keep my eye on that, and we'll definitely keep you informed as we know more. And I believe Christian had some news that he wanted to touch briefly, and then we'll get into our topics.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time I have news, it's typically DC news. It's DC news again. We're talking about Ezra Miller again. There's even more drama that got leaked out with them. And man, they just can't stay out of trouble. Now the trouble that they're in has to do with a young girl. I believe 13, I want to say, is the age of this girl that came out. Her parents are pressing charges, and it's like, apparently Ezra Miller was like, I don't know, sleeping in the same bed with this person and like trying to go off with them, and just, I don't know. It's really weird. Reading the story, I was just like, I don't even care anymore. I just want this Flash movie to come out so I can see it, and then I want it to be done. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, like they are definitely done with DC at this point. DC's pretty much already come out and said that they're going to try to do everything in their power to not only release this movie, but release it without highlighting Ezra Miller too much. So that means no press junkets, no tours, with them. They probably will even take them off of the main poster whenever we get that, and it might even just continue to be the Flash logo, which is the easiest way out for sure. But we'll see what happens, man. Anyway, unfortunately, that is the news that we have again with Ezra Miller. So it's just making it even more difficult to be a DC fan, Flash fan, Warner Brothers fan. It's all crazy.
Yep.
And aside from that, I believe that Warner Brothers, with the buyout and everything, they're just going to um, they're going to start over. I mean, there's really nothing else they can do. You know, The Rock is cool and he has a lot of pull because he's popular, but I don't even think The Rock can save what's going on behind the scenes at Warner Brothers right now. And I think that's why we've gotten so many pushbacks with those movies. We got the Amber Heard fiasco with Johnny Depp that happened here very recently. So, yeah, man, they've got some stuff to clean up, some messes to clean up with their films before they even come out, and even after the fact. Uh, Fans are asking, what are they going to do? Are they going to start over? I mean, it's pretty safe to say, yeah, they're going to start over. They've already talked about how they want Superman to be the main focal point of all the new movies and everything, just like in the comics. A lot of people, myself included, think that Batman's a more marketable character, but the people who are running it now are Superman fans, so they're going to show him some justice, some
Superman
true justice in the film.
sucks.
So Superman does suck. Superman does. I mean, I don't think Superman sucks. I think he's just not nearly as interesting. The problem is, you got like there are good Superman villains, but we don't see them much in movies. We're gonna get a new Lex Luthor, of course. That's definitely gonna happen. It's just like how we always get a new Joker every time there's a new Batman. But Lex is only so much fun to have in the Superman film when he's not doing something that's so diabolical that Superman can't stop it, right? But what can't Superman do? He can pretty much do anything. So when you have a character like that where the stakes aren't super high, it's hard to, it's really hard to get in between. It's really hard to focus on this character. It's really hard to care about this character. And we'll see what happens. Like I said, the future is, there's so many possibilities that could happen in this, so we'll see how it goes. But as of now, Ezra Miller is going to be removed from all the DC stuff following the Flash release, and we will move on from there. We'll see what happens. We have announcements that will be made for during the summer. We got all the cons coming up, Comic-Con and all the DC cons that are coming out in general as well. So we'll get more news as the summer unfolds. We're just waiting to see what happens.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thank you for updating us. One last bit of news that I just saw. It was announced today, actually, for my sports fans out there that have been keeping up. Arch Manning, the son of Cooper Manning, which would be the older brother of Peyton and Eli Manning, who was playing high school ball. He's the number 1 overall recruit in 2023, has committed to Texas, who will be coming to SEC in the next couple years. So he has made his choice, and he's going to Texas. So that's kind of a big little piece of news for sports fans. He's projected. Dude hadn't even played college ball yet, but with all of his intangibles, of course, the last name and all that, they're speculating he could be a number 1 pick whenever it comes time for NFL. So nice little bit of news, but we have covered quite a bit, and now it's time to get into some shows and some content that we have been watching recently, and I think we're going to start with the one and only, the wholesome, pure show that is The Boys, and the most recent episode. So, Christian, what do you think about this most recent episode of The Boys?
I mean, I thought it was great. I thought it was fantastic. I mean, I haven't watched an episode of The Boys that I haven't liked since the show's inception. So we just keep getting good stuff, and not every single episode is just like, oh my God, shocking, shocking, shocking. They're one-upping. It's just the story is good.
Yeah,
The
it's good
characters
writing,
are
too.
good.
They're doing a really good job with it, I feel like. Like, every episode I'm genuinely interested in, and I don't really feel like it's a down filler episode to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I got the only thing that I guess I don't like about The Boys is that we have to wait every week to get a new episode. Other than that, the show is fantastic. I can't wait to the new episode. The newest episode we're getting is going to be the Hero Gasm. But before we talk about that, let's talk about what happened in this episode.
Yeah, we got to talk about Hero Gasm coming up. Because, yeah. Okay.
Man.
So, this episode, though, we're not going to jump around. This episode,
Dude, and so this episode we got more Soldier Boy, Jensen Ackles. Like I've been waiting for that since they announced that he was, cast as Soldier Boy. Because first of all, Jensen Ackles, for all the Supernatural fans, like if you know Jensen Ackles, then you know that he's dope. He's a good person, he's a good human being, he's a good actor. Like I love to see him. I'd watch him in anything. He was the voice of Batman in the Long Halloween film adaptation. So that was awesome. He was Jason Todd in what was it, Under the Red Hood. He's cosplayed as Red Hood before. Like he got a costume made. He petitioned plenty of times to be Batman, to be Jason Todd, to be Red Hood. Like he's all in with the superhero stuff. He loves it. He's just into it. So seeing him be Soldier Boy, who is an amalgamation now of Captain America and the Winter Soldier, but a douche in the sense of like Peacemaker, but not nearly as funny because it's more gritty. I really, really like the character. So we see him. He's kind of getting acclimated to how the world is now because he's been on ice, if you will, i.e., Winter Soldier for all these years. The boys last episode got some tapes. Of course, they got tapes about what's happening to Soldier Boy. He's been getting experimented on. They've been shooting him, poking him, prodding him, gassing him, hitting him with poison. They shot him in the mouth at one point. Like you see a whole lot of little clips on the tapes that I think Mother's Milk is watching at the beginning of the episode, and they essentially just been torturing this guy, and I believe all of that kind of turns into the new power that we see him have, where he shoots this blast out of his chest, and it just incinerates people. It's this nuclear. It's kind of like the atomic breath that Godzilla shoots out, but it comes out of his chest and it's a different color, right? So with that said, he has PTSD from being tortured for years, and he hears this like what is it? German, Russian? I forget at this moment because I'm so hype right now talking about it. But he hears this music that triggers his PTSD, and he just kills all these people on the road. Not he didn't mean to, but he also probably doesn't give a shit. So he kills all these people, and it's all over the news. And Homelander seems kind of afraid. And it's funny, like Homelander never says that he thinks it's Soldier Boy, never confirms that. But just the way that Anthony Starr plays Homelander, it kind of seems like he knows who it is, but he doesn't want to fight him. But also, he's trying to figure out how to run Vought without essentially, letting it fall to the ground. He now has everything, just about everything he wants. So he's trying to keep that. He's trying to keep that power. He's trying to stay on top. But anyway, with that said, Huey tells Starlight what happened in the last episode with him taking the 10V and how he liked it, even though he kind of lied about it to begin with. And she called him on his BS. So he's telling her that he's not going to lie to her anymore. He wants to take it again, but he's not going to do it. And he knows that he wants to because it's the only way to work and blah, blah, blah. So you got that going on. So that's just a red herring. They're letting us know immediately, like Huey is addicted. He likes it. He wants to do it again. He's going to do it again. But then you think to yourself, how? They don't have any more Temp V. And here we go. Enter Maeve. Maeve shows up at Butcher's place. She gives him like what 5 more vials.
She gives him
of the
a lot.
temporary. Yeah, she gives him all she could get. So they got some more V. They need it, which obviously they're going to. So with that said, they're getting drunk together. He's getting blasted, and she's like, "I've been sober for what is it, 3 months or whatever," and he's like, "I've been sober for a year." So they start drinking together because they know that it's ridiculous. And with that said, they end up banging. And obviously, you call it as soon as you see them drinking together, it's going to happen. They end up hooking up, and Butcher obviously doesn't tell anyone. But then when Maeve is back at Vought the next day, I'm assuming Homelander's like, "I can smell Butcher on you," like a dog almost. And I was like, Jesus. So that doesn't end well for Maeve. Maeve essentially, Maeve's got huge balls, dude. She immediately at first she's like trying to be like, "What are you talking about, Homelander? Like, this is crazy, blah, blah, blah." And then she calls Homelander by what I'm assuming is his real name. She calls him John. Why does every white hero or villain and everything, why is their name always John? You got John for
Good
Homelander.
question.
You got John McClane. You got Master Chief is John. You get like John Connor, John Constantine. Like there's so many Johns. Anyway, with that said, there's so much going on there, man. And she ends up getting kidnapped by Black Noir. And that was like a jump scare scene. Like, do you remember that? Like that happening so quickly? That shit was crazy. So that happens. You have Starlight. She goes to Ashley, who's essentially the new CEO of Vought, and tries to figure out where Maeve is. She doesn't tell her. She's afraid. She's getting ready to tell her because she's afraid, and then she like snaps out of it and is like, the next time you come to me, you need to make a fucking appointment. That kind of stuff. Claps back at Starlight. Starlight leaves. Then you got like Kimiko's in the hospital recovering. Her powers are completely gone. It's kind of like Soldier Boy's blast burns the V out of your system if you have V in your system, because that's what it seems like. She no longer has V in her system, and with that's kind of crazy.
You think it's temporary, or you think it's like permanent, like she's now normal?
I mean, last week I thought that it was going to be temporary, but now I'm thinking it's permanent, and she's going to have to go get V again. So either start taking the temp V, or injecting herself with good old fashioned blue regular V. So compound V. So we'll see. I'm not sure on that. Like early speculations, I'm thinking she's gonna get her powers back somehow. And I think she's just gonna get them back organically. But I mean, if she had to start taking V to get her powers back, that'd also be cool. It'd be a new thing. They couldn't count on her for everything anymore. So that would be a fun thing to see moving forward. But also I'm thinking, man, there's so much that happened. So she has this whole Judy Garland like dance scene in her mind because she has her powers are gone, and she's thinking she could be a real girl now, and she's like trying to start talking again. Her and Frenchie kiss for the first time, and we've been waiting for that for like 2 seasons now.
It's so awkward too.
It's so awkward. It was very awkward. It was very, very awkward, and Frenchie was wigged out by it. He was like, "Oh God!" And he just like, "You need a coffee? I need a coffee." So he goes to get coffee, and he gets kidnapped by little Nina because he didn't do the job he was supposed to do, and that's the end of Frenchie so far in this episode. So I'm assuming Kimiko is going to have to get her powers back, or at least start taking temporary V, so that she could go and get Frenchie back. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. And then we get towards the end of the episode. All this is what else happens? I feel like I'm missing something, and we'll go back and you can correct me if I'm missing something. But I'm going into the end at this point, and Butcher, Mother's Milk, Huey have a plan to go see the Legend. Right, the Legend is in the comics. He's supposed to be like the Stan Lee caricature. He knows all about the heroes and all that. And in the boys' show, it's kind of the same thing, but he's more so called the Legend because of his sexual exploits with all these famous actors and actresses in the 70s and 80s. So that's why they call him the Legend, because he's like been with like every celebrity ever. But he knows a lot about the heroes at Vought because he had Stillwell's job before she got it, which was in season 1, before she got killed by Homelander, which was brutal. And with that said, man, they finally get the information where Soldier Boy is going from the Legend, which he's going to see his old girlfriend, which I immediately thought, like any guy that I can think of right now, like cis male, if they have a flame, like a girlfriend, wife, whatever, any kind of family like that they would want to see again once they get out of whatever captivity or whatever, that's the first person they're going to see. So he goes to see her. They meet him there, intercept him. They essentially kidnap Crimson Countess, who is doing a cam girl show, live cam girl show for for Seth Rogen, who we've already seen in The Boys as like a movie producer for the 7 movie that was coming out.
He's also like a writer or a producer of the show?
Yeah, in real life, he's definitely a producer of the show. So he's all up into The Boys, like behind the scenes. So we see his character with this cam girl show, and then it gets interrupted by Butcher and the boys. They come in and kidnap her. They put her hands apart so she can't use her powers, and then they tell her that Soldier Boy's on his way, and she's afraid. She gets afraid, and she's telling them that she has to get out of there. And then we find out, of course, it's because she knew that he was kidnapped this entire time. She's the reason why it happened. And Soldier Boy confronts her on it, asks her about it, and she says that he asked her how much they paid her. How much do the Russians pay you to do this? And we find out that they didn't pay her anything. She willingly gave him up. So the attack that we saw in the last episode or 2 episodes ago, where she's like, they took Soldier Boy, and she's like giving us the waterworks and all that. It's because she started all that. She knew it was going to happen, and she didn't like him. You could totally tell in that episode when he's hitting on, I think Newman or whoever is the previous handler of the boys. He's hitting on her when she's in her younger age, and Crimson Countess doesn't like it. You can tell on her face. He totally nukes her. She's done. She's roasted. She looks like burnt barbecue, dude. She's toasted. It literally looks like a nuke blew up her house. It's insane. So that happens, and then Starlight arrives right before that because she was called by Mother's Milk, who is trying to get Huey to come back to the good side because he's officially joined the dark side, which is Butcher's side, taking the temporary V and all that. And Mother's Milk isn't about that life. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I get where you're coming from, MM, but at the same time, what exactly did you expect to do? How would you take Soldier Boy out? How would you take Homelander out? How are you going to take any of the suits out?
Fight fire with fire.
Without fighting fire with fire. Yeah. It doesn't make sense, but I totally get it. MM is like one of the best characters in the show, 100%. So I totally understand why that's, a thing. With that said, though, what else do we have going on in this?
Do we know Mother's Milk's real name?
We don't. I don't think that we do. We might. I don't. Maybe they said it. I don't remember. That's a good question.
So while you're thinking of what else you missed, I apparently am slow, and I knew Huey's character or actor, like the actor that plays Huey. I knew his name was Jack Quaid, but I didn't really put 2 and 2 together until a second ago, and I realized that is Dennis Quaid's son. Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan's son plays Huey. I knew his name was Quaid, and it's a very rare name, so I kind of just like passed it off. But then I was just thinking about it, I was like, wait. And then I was like, oh, wow, he really is. That's his son. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, so slow moment for me. Okay. With that little random tidbit. So if you didn't know that, by the way, that's Meg Ryan and Dennis Quaid's son.
That's hilarious that you didn't know that.
I just didn't think about it. You just see stuff and like, I just didn't think about it. So, yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. I get it.
I don't think I realized Meg Ryan and him had a son, though. I know they were married, but I don't know. I didn't really pay attention.
It's all good, man. No worries. No worries. I won't hold it against you this one time.
Oh, my gosh. Trying to think if you missed anything in that episode.
Well, I did a little bit. So with Starlight being there at the behest of MM, she kind of confronts Huey, and then we find out that Mother's Milk's water bottle was, kind of poisoned, essentially. Not poisoned, but they definitely laced it with roofied. It was, they put a bunch of Rohypnol in there. So he's roofied. He'll be out until the next day. And they roofied him because they knew that he wouldn't be down with the plan. And the plan is to join forces with Soldier Boy to take out Homelander. I understand why that's the plan, but you can't tell me for 1 minute that you think that's really going to work. Like, there's just no way. But anyway,
I'm curious to see the dynamic of that group and how this is going to play out.
Yeah, Soldier Boy and Butcher are both alphas, so like we'll see. Plus,
and Soldier Boy really has not interacted since he really hasn't had a lot of interaction. Him and Countess had a little bit, but that's been the most like we've really heard him speak or say anything. Like most of it's just been him going and blowing stuff up, and like he really hasn't engaged with anybody much. So I'm curious to see how this all goes. But you got Soldier Boy was a former leader of the Soups, correct?
Yeah, of a different team.
Right.
I think their team is called Payback.
Yeah. Butcher's a leader of the boys. Like, he's a leader. So, like you said, it's 2 alphas that are going to clash, and then you throw in Homelander, and then poor Huey, who has his little teleport ability, which he confirmed was teleporting. He did say that in the episode. We were talking about last week if we didn't know he was super fast or teleporting, but he said I teleported. So it is kind of Nightcrawler-ish.
Definitely teleporting. And that's really funny, man. Just hearing him say that, he's like, I knew how to do it too. All I had to do was like clench my butt cheeks.
Oh my God.
Ridiculous, man. I love it though. I love it. It's great.
But yeah. And then the last little bit of that episode, pretty much to kind of pick up where you left off. Pretty much Starlight's like, choose them or me to Huey because Butcher's going off with Soldier Boy. And Huey has to make a decision because he thinks it's the right thing to do to go with Soldier Boy and Butcher in order to save Starlight because things are just progressively getting way worse with her and Homelander and their little relationship that they have for the cameras essentially and for votes and all that stuff. And Huey, goes with them because he feels this is the right move to go after and it's the only way he can save her. So that's kind of how we leave off that episode. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out since Huey wants to be actually one to actually save somebody for once and not be saved in the weak character. He's, like Christian said, he's very into the power and being able to help and actually be a part of things. But I think we should briefly talk about next week's episode or this week's episode that we'll talk about next week. And that is, I don't think I've seen them bring this up yet or have this warning. So we've talked about The Boys is, it's pretty explicit. There's a lot of stuff. There's wiener, there's gore, there's just about anything and everything in the show. So it is it's a little bit of everything. And they had a warning that this next episode is not for all audiences, which tells me if they have not gave a warning for these other episodes in the seasons, this episode is about to be extremely over the top. And in fact, during the warning thing, it said something about Soup's orgy. So it's going to be, the episode name is Herogasm. And this episode is about to be bananas. I feel like it's going to be the craziest episode. So I am beyond excited. I cannot lie. I can't wait to see if they're putting a warning based on everything else they've showed. This is about to be bananas. And I'm excited. I think there's something
wrong. How can you not? It's going to be great.
And you were excited about this episode. You brought up this before. You mentioned the Herogasm and you kind of briefly told me what it was about. But I don't think we should. So... Well, it'll already be out when this comes out. I mean, I guess you can talk about what Herogasm is if you want.
I mean, in a nutshell, Herogasm is a ploy. I mean, in the comics, because I know it from the comics. So in the comics, Herogasm is, every year the Homelander essentially comes out with a press release talking about how they have to go to, a different planet or whatever to fight off some kind of evil and blah, blah, blah. But really what it is just a giant spring break for all the heroes where they just essentially buys a bunch of men and women and, like professionals, if you will. And they just do the most debaucherous stuff you can think of. They do all the drugs available. They do all the people available. They eat whatever they want. They just go in for the weekend. It's a big spring break type deal. So it was a lot in the comics, like every panel. If I were going to show you the pages panels, like up on screen or whatever, I would have to blur out like most of the page just so you could, see what I'm talking about. But it's just like, imagine those old Girls Gone Wild commercials. It's just like that, but superheroes. So it's even more ridiculous because they have powers. So
I can't wait to talk about this episode next week. I cannot wait. I'm sure we're going to have plenty to talk about.
Nice.
I know you're excited for it, so it'll be a good talking point. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Super excited. I was just saying I'm super excited. I cannot wait, dude. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to see it.
All right. Well, I think unless there's anything else, I think that is pretty much all we have for the boys for this week. Do you have anything else you wanted to add? You pretty much nailed the episode. You gave like a great rundown of it.
Well, yeah, man, that's pretty much all I got for the boys. I wanted to give you what I had, and that's it.
All right. Well, we will keep this show rolling, and we'll go from the positive of the boys to the next segment. Oh, Mrs. Marvel. Watch the most recent episode of Mrs. Marvel. And So before we get into the thoughts on Mrs. Marvel, I saw today that Mrs. Marvel has the lowest viewership of any Marvel Disney Plus. I didn't see the numbers on it, but it's being reported at lowest viewership. And my initial thoughts on why potentially is I just feel like the target audience. We talked about this last week. I just think the show is more marketed towards a high school freshman or a high schooler, middle school, kind of that range. And I feel like that potentially is the issue with the viewership. Like me and Christian both said, it didn't really hit home or resonate with us. Us being older and out of high school and stuff like that. So I feel like that's the issue. I could be wrong, but yeah. So it's kind of interesting. That's what's coming out, but not super surprising, honestly. But yeah. So we'll get into episode 3, right? Yeah, episode 3.
Yeah, episode 3.
And I'll just say for me, I watched it again. Not my cup of tea. It's not something that I'm super interested in. Kind of saw the turn that happened. I'm pretty sure you might even have said something about them being the bad guys. And yeah, I mean, meh. That's about my thoughts on it. I watched it and it's just not for me.
That. I mean, that's fair. That's essentially how a lot of people that are our age feel about the show. I know
one positive I do have before you go in. There was a cover band in the wedding named Brown Jovi, which I thought was hilarious, and I laughed a lot. And then the music was good. I think they played was it Living on a Prayer or something during like the fight scene or that whole sequence?
Yeah, Living on a Prayer. That's correct.
I thought that was pretty cool. Again, the special effects aren't bad, but I don't know. Okay, your thoughts. Go ahead.
So for me, like, without running through the entire episode, I agree. Like, I mirror essentially what you were saying. I think that the show is well made. I think that it's well done. It's well acted. There's nothing inherently wrong with the show, even though they've changed up Kamala's powers and how she got them, and all of that. Even the stuff with Bruno, they've changed from the comics and all that. Like, I get it. I mean, Marvel changes stuff all the time for their shows for reasons. Totally understandable. It's just not necessarily something that I want, not something that I needed. I don't need everything to be super dark and desperate and gritty. And, I don't need everything to be the Batman, but I don't really care for stuff that's like freshman in high school, trying to figure shit out kind of thing, just because I've gotten that already with heroes that I like Spider-Man, right? Like,
yeah,
I would expect this to be the route that they choose for like a Miles Morales Spider-Man show. And I'm assuming that that's what they're going to do, but it'll be a little bit more action heavy because of how Miles Morales Spider-Man comes into being. And I know that Marvel's going to change him. I know that they're going to change his backstory a little bit. I know they're going to change his powers a little bit. Like, I totally get all of that. But with that said, Miss Marvel, I still like a lot of the stuff in it. Don't get me wrong. I really liked seeing her brother get married and how that transpired. I really like Bruno as a character. I think he's awesome.
I think it's cool that they're showing a lot of the culture, of that culture.
Yeah, that's amazing. I really, really do like that. We need more of that. I do like, also, I just found out today that Bruno, the actor that plays Bruno, also tried out to be Spider-Man, but lost to Tom Holland.
I saw that. I actually saw that same article. Yeah, that was interesting. I can't see him as Spider-Man, though. I'm going to be honest. I'm so used to Tom Holland now, I can't see Bruno as Spider-Man.
Fair. I get that 100%. I mean, I think that's the point, right? But essentially, like, Cameron's family sucks. They're evil. He's not necessarily evil. He actually likes Kamala. He warns her. They show up to this wedding anyway. But my thing is, a lot of the drama in this show is very, very high school, which can be a negative for sure, because it's not necessarily for me. But the reason why this didn't sit well with me is because when Cameron's family showed up, right, and they were going to just take the bangle from Kamala or whatever, that was Kamala's chance to be like, I don't know these people and they're after me. Like all of that. Her family could have been on board. She could have, totally had her entire family on her side. She pulls the fire alarm essentially though to make it seem like, hey, everybody needs to get out of here while I take these people on myself. But she doesn't even know how to use her powers yet. We just saw that in the last episode. She doesn't know how to focus enough to use her powers in a way to be a hero like she wants to be.
Yeah.
I do like that she's a fangirl. I do like all that stuff. But the problem that I'm seeing with this is more so just she's not ready. She's not ready yet.
Yeah.
And I think also with that was just a missed opportunity for her to come clean to her family, to come clean to her mom. And I think her mom clearly knows more than what she's saying. Obviously knows more than what she's saying. Obviously knows what's going on, but isn't, telling her anything and doesn't want Kamala to be a part of any of that stuff. And there's no way that her family just don't see this bangle on her wrist, like they can totally see that. So with that, I think that this show, like I said, is still doing well. She has the whole vision when she's fighting Cameron's mom or whatever, and you can see this train from what's going on and stuff. I think that they totally could have used that more, but her grandmother calls her on the phone at the end of the episode after she's lied to her mom, like, I can't tell you what's going on, I'm sorry. And they do all that stuff. First of all, if I came home after all of that shit happened and my mom asked me what was going on and it was like, don't lie to me, what's going on, and I said I can't tell you, I'm getting the fucking black beat off of me, bro. There's no way. There's no fucking way. If nothing else, my mom would have straight bitch slapped me right on the spot. Blow! I'm going to ask you again what happened. And I would have been like, oh, I can't tell you. Blow! Another one. Then I would be like, all right, look, this was going on. This Bengal gave me powers. I would have spilled the fucking beans, bro. There's no way. But anyway, it's a show for kids. So obviously we're not going to get any kind of violence like that in the show. None of these villains were particularly violent towards Kamala either. Like, I think
Nope.
Cameron got his ass whooped more than anybody else.
Yeah.
And Bruno gets thrown into a wall and now his arm's all beat up and he can't do anything. Like, come on, bro. Get up.
Didn't
Come
like
on.
a chair
Get
hit
up.
him or something when he hit the wall? It was something kind of lame, and he's
Yeah.
like,
It
"Oh."
wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. That's what I can say.
Yeah.
I didn't think that it was enough. But
Why do you
anyway,
think the viewership is the lowest? What is your opinion?
I think the viewership to me, I think the viewership is the lowest because this show got released at a bad time, bro. Like it's coming out right after Moon Knight, right? A lot of people were watching Moon Knight. A lot of people were interested by Moon Knight. And it was a decent show. It wasn't the best. It didn't have the best ending, but like it was more entertaining than this. This show comes out and it's complete opposite. It's about the kids essentially, which, like I said, is fine. But the way that the show is marketed and targeted is just not, it's not doing well. But also, I'll tell you another thing.
Do you think it has
I'm
anything to
gonna
do
go
with
ahead.
Miss Marvel being a less known hero?
No, and this is why. Most of the shows that they got coming out, like a lot of people who are watching these shows don't know shit about those characters, right? A lot of people didn't know a whole lot about Wanda. They just knew her from the Avengers movies, right? But they watched the show and it ended up being good. People knew Loki from the Thor movies, but they don't know Loki's backstory from the comics, right? Because they only watch him from the movies. So they watched it. So they started off with those two shows. That's well done. Then you had Falcon and Winter Soldier. We know both of those characters from the movies. People don't know too much about them in the comics, but they know the movies, so they watch that. Then you got Moon Knight comes out. Moon Knight, people don't know him from the movies because he's not in them. So this is our introduction to him. And it did fine, but the biggest thing for me isn't the fact that this is a female-led show. It's not the fact that she's of Muslim descent. I think the biggest problem with Miss Marvel is they put this show out while Obi-Wan Kenobi was out. And that was a mistake. It comes out the same fucking day. Disney, no, they're not stupid, bro. They knew what was going on. They were hoping that people would watch this after Obi-Wan and they would keep the hype of those viewers watching Obi-Wan. But most people watch Obi-Wan and then they talk about Obi-Wan because it's Star Wars and they're done. They're not going to watch something that's essentially more childish, right?
Yeah, why would you go from Obi-Wan to like a high school drama?
Exactly. That's bad marketing. Marvel totally did the show dirty by doing that. They put it in a bad position. They put the actors in a bad position. I do, however, think we just got episode 3. I think episode 4 is going to be good. I think we're going to get introduced to what was his name? The Crimson Assassin, the Scarlet Assassin, I think is his name. He's a character from the comics that we're supposed to get in this new episode. He's like, super martial arts ninja guy that wears a red mask. Like, we're supposed to get him. And the actor I actually like, if you watched the AMC show Into the Badlands, he's the guy that played MK. So MK is going to be in this show. Hopefully, he won't be a whiny bitch in this show like he was and and Into the Badlands. But I'm really excited to see that. It's going to be way more action coming up, and we all know the first few episodes of every single Disney Plus show always start off really slow and they're pretty boring. You got the stuff with the feds, I guess, showing up in this episode of Miss Marvel trying to take her and all of that, and she barely escapes, and she escapes thanks to Cameron, and then they show up at mosque and they're like, "Yo, you can't just show up here," and all that stuff's going on. So there's a lot going on in the show, but I don't think that it's really going to make a difference until this next episode. And the viewership, like I said, I think that's mostly contributed to when they aired the show. They aired it the same time as Obi-Wan. Like, come on, man. They fucking knew better than that. So I think if Miss Marvel were coming out this week or next week, it would have been fantastic because Obi-Wan's done. Then they could start this brand new show, but they want to keep things coming out congruently so that now that Obi-Wan's done, in a couple of weeks we'll get the She-Hulk show. But they could have even had She-Hulk and Miss Marvel coming out around the same time, and that would have been better than having Miss Marvel come out opposite Obi-Wan. Like, that's just really, really bad uh, marketing. That's really bad for the publishers. Like, that's just not a good time. So I think a lot of that is really what's happening, and we'll see how the ratings change this coming week, if they change, if people are interested enough to give it a shot or go back and rewatch some episodes and then hop on the train. We'll see what happens. But like I was saying, man, this is just kind of how it always works with these shows. The first few episodes are kind of boring. I will say though, when it comes to Obi-Wan, episode 3 is when we got the first rematch for Vader versus Obi-Wan. So that was the talking point of episode 3 for everybody. This time, I think the talking point is mainly just her getting her mask, Bruno coming clean about getting accepted into that school, and then her fighting off the villains because they didn't stay ambiguous for very long. We know that they're the villains, so, and that they're Jinn as well. And
Yeah.
for the people who didn't watch the episode or don't know what a Jinn is just a genie but evil. So your 3 wishes can really F you up, and I don't know how Marvel's going to go into that lore too much. We'll see. But yeah, Jinn are the bad guys in this. They're kind of like demons, so we'll see what happens.
And is
And
her
they'll give
name a
us
play off of Captain Marvel? Obviously, since she's a big Captain Marvel fan. Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Okay.
Captain Marvel in the comics gave her the name Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel was the name of Captain Marvel before she became Captain Marvel.
Okay.
Because
Because
there
right now
was
she's like
already.
Night Light or something.
Yeah, she's been bequeathed the name Nightlight, just like Spider-Man was called Night Monkey when he went to what was it, France or whatever. I
Yeah.
don't remember at this point, but yeah, it's they're just playing off of that joke again, and then she'll get her actual name probably the last episode of the season.
I wonder if they'll have a
So
cameo last episode with I forgot her name. Captain Marvel. I just went blank on her name.
I'm sure they will. Like they have to pay off calling the show Miss Marvel, so I'm sure that she'll come down and give her the name.
Not to mention, like, her stuff is everywhere. I think Mala's phone background is Miss Marvel as well. So, or
yeah,
Captain Marvel. Sorry,
everything
excuse me.
about her is everything about her is all Captain Marveled out. It's just to further hammer home exactly what they want you to think. And what they want you to feel for her character. So yeah, for sure, she's gonna get her costume by the end of it. Bruno's already made her the mask. I'm sure he'll make her the rest of the costume before the season's out. We'll probably get a costume change, episode 6 before the final battle, and that'll be its thing. And then Captain Marvel will probably show up because they're talking about if she opens the portal to let them go back to their home, there's going to be this giant explosion, yada yada. So like, I'm pretty sure that Carol Danvers' character will show up last minute, kind of like she does, and then make something happen. So we'll see what happens.
Yep.
We'll
Hopefully
totally see
next
what
episode
happens.
is good though. Hopefully it picks up some. We'll see.
Yeah, man, we'll see, man. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Like, there's a lot going on in the show. It's not a terrible show by any means. It's just not my first pick. You know?
Yeah, definitely not for me. I'm watching it so we can talk about it, but I'm not. It's not something I'm like necessarily looking forward to. Again, not because there's anything like you said necessarily bad in it. Just I'm not the demographic that it's really going for. My age group,
Right.
so I'm not
Absolutely.
able to relate really to like to all that. So, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see how they play it out and what they tie it into and branch out of it. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move to the other Disney Plus show that recently wrapped up this past week, the one and only Obi-Wan. And I want to start before Christian goes into a rant and say, damn you, Obi-Wan Kenobi show and Disney. Damn you for making me eat my words. Because I believe it was last week, I went on a rant about how Obi-Wan would not beat Vader in the current state. And damn if they don't make him go Super Saiyan or something. And he was able to get the best of Vader in a fight. And I'm sure we'll get more into that. So thank you for making me eat my words on that. And I also said I expected this episode to be a letdown, like not as good. I think this episode was really good. Obviously, there's some things that are, I think it was really good. I think it was better than the Moon Knight finale as far as like the episode after like the sixth episode and the wrap up episode. I feel like it was good. So it got me there too. And I was like, wow, okay. But I want to save some of the things we talk about. There was some really cool scenes that I really liked. There was a really sweet cameo and it was pretty action packed actually. It was a pretty action packed episode, I thought. Christian, did you like it? Were you disappointed?
Do you have more? I want you to get out what you need to get out, and then I'll go for it.
Okay.
So let me know when. Yeah.
So
go for it.
Honestly, I'm gonna go through my range of emotions. Whenever Obi-Wan did his whole thing, and he's like, I have to go. He wants me. The normal Jedi thing, I'm going to go pretty much sacrifice myself. He wants me, I'm going to save you all. And they're all like, no. And he goes, does his thing. Saw that coming. I wasn't really sure what the third sister was doing. I was very unsure of her intentions with how she would left off after betraying Vader. She knew about Luke. I was really like, is she going to go after all that? And, Vader knew, kind of was like ahead of you on everything. Are you really going to go try to kill the other child and be like, look, Vader, look what I did, Papa, kind of thing. I was like, that kind of seems dumb, and I don't know why she would do that after she's already turned on him kind of thing. So I was like, that's kind of weird. The Obi-Wan Darth Vader thing, initially when they set up and they were ready to fight, I was like, I kind of don't want it to happen. And I'm kind of like Christian. You had them fight episode 3, and I'm going to say probably one of the best lightsaber fights that has been in Star Wars, if not the best. I really enjoyed that fight. And that is a good fight. And then you have them fight again, in which Vader finally bests Obi-Wan, and that's it. I kind of didn't want, they've already encountered, I kind of didn't want it because I didn't want to diminish those fights. But obviously, I'm sure I'm probably the minority of what people out there wanted to see. They wanted to see one more fight. And we got it. And it was a good fight. Obviously, Obi-Wan's powers get stronger. He's able to get more connected with the Force. And then in the end, he's able to best Vader. He shows mercy. He doesn't finish Vader, but he is able to best him. And I think it was a really cool visual of he hits Vader in the head with his lightsaber and kind of breaks open Vader's mask, where Vader's voice is a mixture of Hayden Christensen and James Earl Jones. And it kind of like bounces back and forth a little bit, and you see a burnt up Hayden Christensen in there, and I really liked that visual of seeing Vader, seeing Anakin almost essentially one last time, as even though he's not Anakin anymore, and he makes the reference, you didn't kill Anakin, I did, which is a cool line. I did like that a lot, that visual. I thought the fight was good. I actually did enjoy it. Now I want it to be done. There's talks about if there was enough, they would maybe do another Obi-Wan. I don't want any more Vader Obi-Wan fights. I think that's it. We're done. Stop. Don't run this in the ground. No more. That's it. That was good. Third sister thing. Obviously, she ends up not killing Luke. They're all trying to stop her, and she brings him back and all that. I don't know. That was still kind of weird. I guess she's finally turning all the way back or figuring out what she's going to do. I'm still not really sure what her initial plan was there. Like, do you really think killing that child, which I'm assuming Vader would figure out was probably his, would help? Which she doesn't know that. Or does she? I'm not really sure. I don't know. That was kind of weird. We got to see a little bit of Luke. We got to see Obi-Wan interact with Luke for the first time and say, hello there, which was kind of nice and a nice little throwback. Love that meme. And then we finally got to see the cameo of Qui-Gon. Liam Neeson shows up, which was awesome. I loved it. I was very happy that he finally showed up. And, yeah. I think, okay, so I still think Vader is far superior than Obi-Wan. And I still, sucks that he lost the fight, which I understand for the show. Obviously, Vader's not going to beat Obi-Wan because Vader would kill Obi-Wan. He wouldn't show mercy. He would finish Obi-Wan off, I think. But I feel like it obviously has to be the emotions of Anakin fighting Obi-Wan. It makes him a little weaker, like the connection, because they were brothers, Anakin, and all that stuff. So that I thought it was good, though. I did like the episode. Like I said, the third sister thing was a little weird, but it was kind of wrapping up her arc and her story. I'm trying to think what else happened. Qui-Gon thing's really cool, and yeah, I guess that's about it. Obviously, we get you take the droid back, and you see Leia and Obi-Wan kind of have that final interaction, and then will I ever see you again if you need me? Which ties into was it New Hope, where he's Obi-Wan, your only hope, all that stuff. So that was cool, and yeah, that was kind of my thoughts, but a little bit of a wide variety of emotions. But the episode delivered. I was pretty happy with the episode all in all, and I enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it, and I feel like it was a continuation from the last one, and they did a good job with the finale. Now, I hope they don't go again. Just saying. I don't want them to run it into the ground.
All right. So, for the sake of time, I'm going to... you guys that listen to this podcast know that I like to go off sometimes. I like to go on little ranty rants. You guys know what's up.
Christian rant.
So, yeah. So I'm going to go on a little Christian rant. It's not going to be big, it's not going to be, ridiculous, because I don't want to keep you guys here all day. I know you got shit to do. You got jobs, you got kids, maybe girlfriends, possibly boyfriends, both. Who gives a shit? You got stuff to do. So let me just say this.
What?
I believe that if you go back to episode 1 of Obi-Wan Kenobi and shoot it in the face, and then go to episode 2 and shoot it in the face, and do that to every single fucking episode until you get to this finale, and you only have the finale. But you only have the fight between Obi-Wan and Vader. That's the show, right? That's what we're watching. I thought it was fantastic. The fight between Obi-Wan, like actual Obi-Wan Kenobi and Vader, was so good. It gave me flashbacks to episode 3.
First off, were you mad whenever you saw they were going to fight? Were you a little disappointed?
I saw they were going to fight in this episode?
Yeah, were you a little disappointed, like, I wish it wouldn't happen? You know it's going to happen, and you're excited, you're like, you hope it's good, but at the same time, you're like, please don't diminish the other fights. Kind of like...
No. This is why. I knew they were going to fight again. I knew that. I wasn't disappointed that they were going to fight again. I needed it because I needed them to give me a reason for wasting 6 weeks of my life watching this shit. So that I needed this fight to happen. They needed this fight to happen. So we know now when Hayden Christensen and fucking Ian McGregor, all of them were talking about the stuff that they did for the show. This is what they were talking about. when they fought, dude, it was fantastic. I like the music, I like the setting, I like the saber battle in general, I like the subtle use of the force. And then we got full on like Moses God mode Obi-Wan, just like he looked like the fucking Avatar. He just put his hands out. He beat the shit out of Vader.
Can't
He whipped Vader
did you
like he whipped
did you
on
want
Mustafar, bro.
when Obi-Wan was buried, when Vader buries him, and Vader had the high ground, did you not want Vader to be like, now who has the high ground, bitch? Because I did. I was like, if he says that, I'm losing it. I'm flipping table. Which I know he wouldn't say bitch on the show, but be like, now who has the high ground? But like, yes.
What I was expecting was when I was expecting for him to try to, because obviously we see he's going to try to bury Obi-Wan, right? That's going to be the easiest thing to do. And I was thinking one of two things. One, the first thing I thought was this. Why would he bury Obi-Wan not being able to find a body? Also, he said that he wanted to torture Obi-Wan. He wanted to make this last, right? So why would he do that? And then I thought, maybe he's doing this because he knows that Obi-Wan is not only just like regaining his past skill and power, but Obi-Wan could win. He could win. And once Vader realized that he could lose, he needs to do anything in his power to end that fight right away. So that's the first thing I thought. The second thing I thought was I was thinking that he was going to try to bury Obi-Wan and Obi-Wan was going to try to do some force magic shit and get out of it. But then at that point, Vader would say, something to the effect of "Don't do it, Obi-Wan. I have the higher ground." I was expecting that. It was kind of a lost cause, but I will say I'm glad that they didn't do it because of them not doing it, we got a more emotional fight, and that's exactly what I needed to see was an emotional fight. So I'm really glad that happened that way. So now that that's over with, and I've said that, I have to go back to what I was saying before. The fight in general was fantastic. It was fantastic. I really liked it. I hated essentially that it was undercut with the Riva stuff because I didn't give a shit about any of the Riva stuff, and that's fine. I don't hate Riva's character. I actually like her character a lot. But when you have characters like that, and then you can see Obi-Wan fighting Vader, and we know this is the last episode of the season. Like, I don't give a shit about anything Reva's doing. She already had her chance to me. She got stabbed. The fact that she's able to just get up and walk around like this and be fine and just look sweaty and her hair is undone, that's not enough, bro. You should be fucked up. Like, you should be more fucked up than you are, is how I'm feeling. Anyway, back to the fight. Dude, Vader saying you didn't kill Anakin Skywalker, I did. That gave me chills, bro. Like, as a Star Wars fan, like, how do you not feel that in your soul when he says that? That was amazing. When he cracks his helmet, he's beating the shit out of Vader's armor, first of all. And then you can hear Vader wheezing like he wheezes in episode episode 6? Like, I'm sorry. It is episode 6, right? When he's doing that, I love that. When he's wheezing, when he's dying and shit, like, I love all of that. You can hear him doing that. I love the fact that you look up and you see Hayden Christensen's face under the mask, but you also have the Vader voice coming out. I love that. And he's like, he says something else that was really cool, and I can't remember what else he said that was great. He said, "I'm not your failure, Obi-Wan."
Yeah,
I love because that does a couple things. One, it's Anakin at this point because he says that he's killed Anakin, but he hasn't, right? And this line explains that. He says, "I'm not your failure, Obi-Wan." That means that is Anakin talking to Vader, saying, "You didn't fail, Anakin. I'm not your failure. I'm not your cross to bear. Like, this isn't something that you need to hold on to. This fight was going to happen. I was going to always join the dark side. I was always going to fight you. This was how it's going to be, and this is how I'm going to be. I am stronger now because of it," which is a falsity essentially. But like that, I love that. That was the last time we get Anakin talking to Obi-Wan, and then once he tells Obi-Wan that he didn't kill Anakin Skywalker, and he did like Vader did, like he's fully Vader now. I love that. I also love excuse me, I love the fact that after their battle, when Obi-Wan leaves him yet again to to just stew in his defeat, he walks away and he says goodbye, Darth. That's letting
Yeah.
us know as the audience that he really does believe now that Anakin is gone and now all that's left is Darth, and he doesn't need to kill Darth because he's defeated him already and it's done. Like their battle is over. And I also love that at the beginning of that fight, at the very beginning of that fight, if you're paying attention, Vader calls Obi-Wan master. I love that. That stuff, dude. That's the kind of shit I'm talking about. That's what I want to see when I'm watching Vader versus Obi-Wan. That's what I'm talking about. That's fantastic. That's amazing. That battle scene was fucking sick. That's the only thing I will go back and watch from this entire series for the rest of my life. Like Reva, I like as a character. I would love to see her in like comic book adaptations, like to see where her story ended up, what she ended up doing, if she redeemed herself. She doesn't even have her lightsaber anymore. She has other shit now. So I just would like to see what she does. It could be like a 4-issue miniseries. That would be fine. I don't need to see a show. I don't need an animated movie. I don't need any of that. I just need like a little comic to tie it in, so I have closure on that. But her and the Luke stuff, I thought was really silly. I didn't care for that at all.
I just feel like
I
there was
didn't
no
care.
motivation for it. Like you said, she turned last episode. So there's really it's not like Vader's going to welcome you back. You know? Like,
Right.
I don't
It was more
understand
so.
like why you had to play up is she going to kill Luke? Like what does she have to gain realistically from doing that?
She says that it's for justice, and that's letting me know as an audience member. That's letting me know that because she can't kill Vader, and she knows that now, she thinks that if she kills this kid that means something to Vader, or that could mean something to Vader, then that's justice enough. But at the same time, she doesn't really know exactly who Luke is, because though we got that really dumbass voice message system in the last sequence in the last episode, she doesn't. I mean, does she put all the pieces together herself? If she's that smart, she could have used that information and done literally anything with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But she's kind of an idiot in that, and I really don't like that for her character. Like she jumps the gun a lot, and this is just proving that she jumps the gun all the fucking time. She never stops to think about anything. So I get that. She's a lot like Anakin before he had a Padawan, right? If we're going off of the Star Wars Rebels and all that shit, like before all of that, before Anakin like chilled out, before he joined the dark side and like became Vader, like she reminds me a lot of him. She reminds me a lot of Kylo Ren. It's the same character. They've written the same character. She even dresses like they do, right? So it's the same thing. So it's not her fault. I think they wanted that to be the production essentially of her character, which is fine, and I'm on board for that. But I just didn't care about her story after I'm seeing Obi-Wan fight Vader. I just didn't give a shit. And the other thing that bothered me about this episode was he was talking to Leia and he told her about her parents, and she's cool because she's got new parents now. Like that's awesome. But what bothered me is like she never talked about Obi-Wan again for like the next, what is it, 10 years or so. I think in the next 10 years, then she, Obi-Wan, you're my only hope. Like she's really good at keeping secrets, so that's awesome. But that kind of bothered me a little bit. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of a plot hole, but kind of not. Like they wrapped it up enough for me to be satisfied. It just wasn't the most satisfying thing they could do. With that said, though, like I'm not going to dwell on it too much. I just really enjoyed this fight. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about before I'm done, is this is the thing that we were all waiting for, myself included, but it also doesn't make any fucking sense. We get to see Qui-Gon Jinn, his cameo at the end of the show. He shows up for like, I don't know, 8 to 10 seconds talking to Obi-Wan. But the thing is, like, if you follow the Star Wars canon, Qui-Gon doesn't know how to appear as a Force ghost. Like, he never finished learning that before he got killed by Maul. So he only could become a disembodied voice. And we didn't. I know, like, it wouldn't make sense for casuals of the Star Wars shows to hear the voice of Qui-Gon Jinn and put two and two together, and that makes sense. Like, I get that, but like for a Star Wars purist, like more of a pure. I'm not a purist, but I'm more pure than like the typical casual person is. It would just make more sense if he was a voice and not a full
Don't they hint
on.
at it in episode 3 though? Like, doesn't Yoda tell Obi-Wan something about like a way of connecting
He
with
does.
those?
He says that you haven't. He says something to the effect of you still have lessons to learn from your former master, which is Qui-Gon. Yeah, and that makes sense. But like I said, in other Star Wars shows that are canon to the universe that we have right now, we totally get that he can't fully become the Force ghost. He can only be a voice. And he does talk to Obi-Wan. He does explain to Obi-Wan the information that he needs to become a Force ghost himself, so that he can help finish training Luke when he's older and he dies and he dies and all that. So we get all that stuff together. It's just that if we're being technical, he should only be a voice and not a full-on Force ghost. With that said, I know that they dropped that this is the season finale, not the series finale, and I'm on the same page as you. I want this to be a one and done. It should be over. There should be no more Obi-Wan Kenobi shows whatsoever. Like, what else is there left to tell? The only
That's
thing
my
they could
thing.
do is go back further and tell you stories of, younger Obi-Wan, but I don't really want to see that. Like, if I'm going to go back and see more shit about a character, then I would rather have a Vader show, right? I want to see the Vader comic that I've mentioned a few times on the podcast. I'd rather see them do that as a show than to see more Obi-Wan stuff. So we'll see what happens. I hope that they're done with it. They got other Star Wars shit they can do. There's new characters that they can tap into.
Didn't Hayden
They can
Christensen
totally
say he was down to do more and feels there's more to be told?
yeah, both of them, Hayden Christensen and Ian
Which
McGregor,
Hayden
would
Christensen
love.
can do more in upcoming Star Wars shows, not necessarily Obi-Wan.
Yeah, and I mean,
Because
here's the
you
thing,
mentioned
man.
the one coming out where I'm pretty sure she fights Vader, and I can't. The name escapes me right now. Help me out. Jedi.
Character?
Who?
You talking about a character right now?
Yeah.
So
Yes. She fights Vader, does she not?
she does fight Vader.
There we go. There's your chance to do that. And I feel like you could even
Well, that's
sprinkle
the
Obi-Wan
problem.
maybe in some shows, like brief appearances, without necessarily doing a show. I just don't want them to be like, obviously nostalgia is a big thing in this show. And the last 2 episodes to me were really good. This last episode I was very happy with. I went in fully expecting it to kind of Moon Knight, not be as good as the previous one, but it was really good. Like you said, the battle. I just am worried they're going to be like, ooh, everybody's very happy. Let's continue the nostalgia train. But there's really not a lot that I can think of you can throw out there. And I don't want them to keep throwing us Vader and Obi-Wan. I don't want them to overdo that at all. Because how they use Vader in this was really good and I liked it. Like, strong moments, but not a lot. More quality over quantity kind of thing.
Yeah. So Ahsoka did fight Vader. That we've already seen that though, animated. It's in the Rebels. It's in the last season of Star Wars Rebels. Also, the fight was very reminiscent to the one we just got here in Obi-Wan. She cracks his mask. She talks to Anakin. Anakin talks back. Like, the same shit happens. It's just now we got it from a different character. So that's 2 people in the canon now who have fought Vader, cracked his mask, talked to him as though he were Anakin, and then he tells them that Anakin's dead essentially and he's Vader now and blah blah blah. So I don't think they'd want to do that again, but I'd totally be down to see a show about Ahsoka, which we're getting. But you got to remember, Ahsoka is older. Ahsoka would be, so if you watch, what is it? Not The Mandalorian, but Boba Fett. Mandalorian was in that, the last couple episodes of that, and Grogu was in it.
Yeah.
Luke was in it. Ahsoka was in it. So everybody was in that show. So you kind of see the timeline of where Ahsoka would be for her own show. She even leaves, and Luke asks her if he'll see her again, and she says, maybe, some shit like that. So like that's her show is going to be around that timeline. So she is not going to be too present and active during the time of the whole Vader stuff, because she even says to Luke in Boba Fett in the show that you remind me of your father. You're like him when he's teaching Grogu how to be the character, how to be a Jedi. Essentially, he's training him. So yeah, they're not going to do Ahsoka versus Vader because when we get to the Ahsoka show, Vader's already dead.
Okay. Well, okay. Well, just way to ruin my day, Christian.
You're welcome. That's what I'm here for.
Oh my God. So you're very happy with the finale episode?
I am, and I hope that's it. I hope they keep it that way. We're done.
I liked it. I was happy. Like I said, the fight, they really didn't waste much time going into the fight either, which was good. They gave us what we wanted. And those visuals, man, I love, like I said, I can't emphasize how much I love the visual of his helmet being cracked and you see him burnt Anakin and you get glimpses of Anakin and then that's it. That's kind of your last, almost your goodbye to Anakin. And I really like that.
One thing that I can say, though, you had asked a second ago, like if I was happy with the show. Was I happy with the show? I mean, the show was fine, but was I happy with the actual fight? I was more than happy with the fight that we got.
Okay.
The fight was everything to me. The show was just okay. Like I said, I'm never going to watch Obi-Wan again, but I will absolutely YouTube the fight scene for sure.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. So that's it for Obi-Wan. Wrapped up, and we'll see what they decide. They're already rumoring, and talking about they would like to do more. So we'll see what Disney does. Knowing Disney and the amount of positive reviews the show got and the viewership, I'm sure they'll probably do something. Knowing them, but we'll see. We will definitely see. But I believe that's all of our topics for the day, and we are going to go into that time. And you know what time it is? Where you
pass the whiskey.
That's right. Get your whiskey ready for the last call. Question of the week. We're going to wrap it up with the question. Coming from the one and only returning questionnaire himself on the inside. Would you rather? That's always a good way to start a question. Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck? Christian.
Good God, bro. Do I have a weapon? Like, am I fighting these guys?
We're going to say you're barehanded. You're just... And naked.
And naked? Good Jesus Christ. So, I want to say, like, a part of me wants to say, if I'm fucking butt-ass naked, I would want to fight one thing rather than 100 things, right? Because you could get swarmed and then you got a bunch of little baby horses biting on your junk, I'm not trying to get my wiener bit off by a baby horse. Like,
I mean, imagine 100 duck-sized horses just kicking you. Dude, that would tear up some shins. Man, that would hurt.
Yeah, but think about a horse-sized, angry-ass duck. Like, that seems terrifying to me.
I gotta go with one. I feel like, I mean, you can only punt so many little duck-sized horses, and then I'm gonna be tired.
So let me say this to answer the question. I'm gonna go with the horse-sized duck because I feel like I'd stand more of a chance, but also I would be terrified. But it's still just one thing I gotta fight. But if I had a weapon, like you give me like a fucking bat or a sword.
How tired you're gonna get trying to get those little horses?
Yeah, but I mean, you swing a couple good times, you could take out quite a few of these motherfuckers with one hit.
Nah, bro, they're smart.
I mean, yeah, I don't know, dude. Like I said, weapon, man, that's tough, dude. To who asked this question, like, damn you for asking this because I'm really thinking about it. But also, I think I'm gonna go with the horse-sized duck. Just, I mean,
I
it seems like
it'd be running and trying to spear a horse-sized duck. Just, I mean, hitting that thing head on right under like the beak and just trying to take it out.
Oh, that's exactly what I would do, actually. But yeah, well, so I mean, I'm gonna go with the horse-sized duck. It just seems it's one enemy as opposed to 100, excuse me. So like it'd probably be a little easier, less taxing. You only got to run from one thing. So I'm gonna go with that. But either way, I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with either way. But yeah, that's my answer.
You take it down and then you ride it like Falcor from Neverending Story.
And I hope you like. If you like roasted duck, bro, then you got meat for the year, bro. We're good.
Although that thing starts flogging you and pecking you, that's gonna hurt.
Yeah, it's gonna be annoying for sure. But yeah, I'm going with the duck.
All right.
Who's the duck? I'm going with the duck.
God. All right. Well, keep those questions coming. We appreciate it. We love to answer them. You guys do an awesome job of that. So keep them coming. Keep them filling up. Our last call question section in the Gilded server. If you're not already joining the Gilded server, come hang out with us. Gilded.gg/Sinister pack in the application. Just put from the podcast. There's a whole section just for last call questions. There's also episode chat, topics, suggestions, drinks. Show us what you're sipping on, because here at Sippin With Sin, we like to have beverages. As well as Sinister Tales section, where you can drop your personal horror stories or stuff you've seen around the internet and you like us to talk about, because we like to do that as well. And there's also gaming chat and all kinds of stuff where you can just chat about anything. Me and Christian talk in there and hang out. But thank you all so much. We appreciate it. Also, hit us up on the socials. Either one of our socials or the Sippin With Sin socials, and let us know a last call question. We have been getting some feedback about episodes, talking about things, and we love that. Absolutely love it. We love to hear what you guys think. And we love to hear your thoughts on some of the things we say. So definitely keep that coming. But be sure to follow the socials. Sippin With Sin, at Sippin With Sin. That's SIPPIN with Sin on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Drop follows, say hello, submit questions. Tell us what you think about the episodes. We love to see it. You can also watch the video version of this episode and all episodes on my personal YouTube. That's youtube.com. IamSinister. Come check out over there. Every Wednesday, 8 a.m. Central Time, the episodes are posted. Same as when they go live on the audio formats on Spotify, on Apple, on Google Podcasts, Overcast, Anchor.fm, and more. Show some love to them. Rate them 5 stars. Subscribe. Follow. All that good stuff and things. Also, you can find me. If you want to come say hello to me on my socials, IamSinister TV, pretty much everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. You can find me. Come hang out. I stream live daily on Facebook Gaming, fb.gg/IamSinister TV. I also stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/IamSinister TV. And we live stream on TikTok at IamSinister TV. Come hang out with us. Play games with us. Talk to us. All that good stuff. We love to hear from you. And Christian, where can everyone find you?
You guys can find me on, Instagram and TikTok at Ven and Ink. That is VEN and Ink. Those are the only 2 socials you can find me on currently, because contrary to popular belief, I don't like social media too much.
There you go. And like I said, we love to hear back from you. So find us on one of those, talk to us, or come join the Gilded server. And yeah, be sure to rate 5 stars. 5 stars. That's right. Not 4, not 3, but 5. 5 stars. Like, subscribe, follow on whatever platform you're listening to. We do appreciate it. Subscribe on the YouTube. We're getting close to some nice numbers over there. So keep on spreading the word. Keep subscribing, following, all that stuff. Share it with your dog. You're sitting there with your dog. You're just kind of hanging out. You're playing fetch or something. I don't know what you do. You're watching your stories. And just be like, hey, check out this podcast. And then maybe the dog tells its friends. Just keep spreading the word along. We love that. But keep spreading, keep showing love. We appreciate you all. Thanks for listening to this episode. And we're going to let Christian shut this thing down until next week.
Thank you all so much for tuning in to yet another episode of Sipping With Sin. Be sure to leave a 5-star review, smash that like button, leave a comment in the comment section below. But most importantly, guys, don't get gutted.
That's right. See you guys next time.